Target bomb plot foiled. If convicted, suspect Mark Barnett faces a decade in federal prison. His alleged crime? Planning to bomb 10 Target stores across the U.S. East Coast, from his home in Florida all the way to New York. The feds say that Barnett allegedly paid a man 10 large to do it for him. He gave the guy 10 bombs, gloves, as well as a mask and a license plate cover to hide his identity. Barnett's alleged endgame was to buy cheap Target stock, theorizing it would tank after the bombings but eventually bounce back. Barnett, a registered sex offender, disguised the bombs in food packaging and wanted the man to plant them in stores. That man called his probation officer, who in turn alerted law enforcement. Investigators in turn wired that same man Barnett hired and used him to get more info. They raided Barnett's home and reportedly discovered M5000 explosives, rocket igniters, and batteries for the devices. Barnett is currently detained in Marion County Jail on parole violations. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Keep watching for more foiled bomb plots.
Australian teen planned kangaroo suicide bomb. A radicalized Melbourne teenager appeared in court on Thursday accused of planning to pack a kangaroo with explosives in an ISIS-style attack. 19-year-old Sevdet Ramadan Basim pleaded not guilty to 4 terror charges, so he will face trial at the Victoria Supreme Court. Australian federal police allege Basim outlined his plans for the attack during online conversations with an unnamed 14-year-old boy in England. Police say Basim wrote about atrocities he planned to commit on Anzac Day last year, as Australia remembered its war dead. Basim allegedly wrote that he would paint a kangaroo with an ISIS symbol, pack it with C4 explosives, and set it loose on police officers. He also stands accused of plotting to run down and behead a police officer before launching a suicide attack. "I'd love to take out some cops," the teenage jihadi allegedly wrote to his firebrand British pen pal. Basim was arrested on April 18th last year, 1 week before Anzac Day, when police held 5 Melbourne teenagers on terror charges and seized knives and swords. He faces charges relating to internet searches and communications carried out with the intention of preparing for a terrorist attack. However, prosecutors withdrew a 5th, more serious charge, punishable by a maximum sentence of life in prison. The British teenager who communicated with Basim, now aged 15, was sentenced to life in prison in the UK in October for his role in the plot.
Aussie cops thwart Christmas Day ISIS bomb plot. Up to 400 cops from different agencies of Australian law enforcement came together to stop an Islamic State-inspired bomb plot in Melbourne. The plan was said to target busy public places such as Flinders Street Station, St. Paul's Cathedral, and Federation Square. The terrorist attack may have been planned for Christmas Day. Police believe the Islamic State-linked suspects plan to use bombs and firearms or knives. Thankfully, the cops have been watching the suspects for weeks and carried out a series of armed raids that resulted in 5 men being arrested. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said the plot was one of the most substantial to have been disrupted in recent years.
FBI foils white supremacist plot to blow up black churches. 3 Virginia men were arrested on Sunday for allegedly trying to start a race war. The FBI says suspects Robert Doyle, Ronald Beasley Cheney, and Charles Halderman met at a home on Candlelamp Lane in Chesterfield. There, they discussed acting on their white supremacist beliefs by shooting or bombing synagogues and black churches. In addition, they talked about killing a gun store owner in Oklahoma and harming the owner of a gun store in Virginia. They also made plans to kill a local jeweler and rob an armored truck. The trio planned to use the proceeds from the crimes to purchase land, stockpile weapons, and train for the so-called coming race war. The suspects have each been charged with 1 felony count so far.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Minnesota teen charged after confessing to school massacre plot. A teenager intending to kill at least 40 people, including his family and classmates, has been charged after he confessed his chilling plans to investigators when his secret was revealed. In 2013, John LeDoux detonated homemade bombs around the southern Minnesota town of Waseca, testing them over a 9-month period. The 17-year-old was preparing to carry out a massacre at his school and would start by killing his family and setting off ire in town to distract authorities. He planned to hide pressure cooker bombs filled with ball bearings and screws in recycling bins at the school and detonate them remotely during a passing period. Those not killed by the explosion would be finished off using Molotov cocktails, pipe bombs, and a rifle. He expected to be killed in a shootout with police. Ledieu's plans were thwarted in April 2014. Police responding to reports of suspicious activity found him in a storage locker amid various bomb-making materials. He confessed under questioning, and police later found several firearms and explosives in his bedroom. Ledieu pleaded guilty to a single felony count of possessing an explosive device in September after a judge dismissed the initial charges of attempted murder and property damage against him.